Finding a way of beating the odds and making a name for himself tells a bit of Aaron Bailey's story. After 2 seasons of starring for Coach Bob MacDougall and the Chaparrals, Aaron earned a full scholarship and started even more in his 2 seasons at the University of Louisville at wide receiver and on special teams. An undrafted NFL free agent in 1994, Aaron willed his way to play 5 seasons with the Indianapolis Colts, ranking among the best return specialists in franchise history. And the argument can be made that no other Chaparral had as much success playing football than our next Hall of Famer, Aaron Bailey.
Well, first off, it's my pleasure to introduce my best friend, Aaron Bailey, former teammate, to the College of DuPage Hall of Fame. It's such an honor to do this because me and Aaron go back a long way, probably with 28 years. I met Aaron in 1995 with the Indianapolis Colts. How we really became friends were that we both played the same position. He was a wide receiver, so am I. I met him, he came up and introduced himself to me, and we kind of became really good friends from there. I guess my most memorable moment from that year with Aaron is, although we played the same position and, we both very competitive, that was in the younger years of our NFL journeys. So we both were kind of trying to establish ourselves as pro football players. So, that was kind of a competitive thing there. But he really took it upon himself to kind of teach me the offense. He was there 2 years before I got there, so he kind of knew the system. So, he would take his time to kind of teach me the plays and teach me the system and, how things work and, where to line up. I remember times we would go out and practice and we'd be in the same huddle and we would go out there and we would run like twins right, twins left. That means me and Aaron go to the same side and he would kind of help me line up and kind of make sure I knew the plays. So that's kind of how the relationship kind of really built. It kind of started from that point and it grew. And then it became a trust thing. I really just respected the fact that although we both were there at the same time and kind of had the same goal as far as individual goals, he really took it upon himself to make sure I knew what I was doing. We just had a good relationship. But the thing I can say the most about him was that I would say as far as on the field was that, he was a real good listener. And one thing I can say, he listened, like every word I say, he just like took it to heart. And I would say, hey man, you need to do this or do that. And you can really establish yourself even better. He would take every word I said and he would take that to practice and he would go a little harder. He was doing these things. And I kind of felt like a coach sometimes, even though we both was on the same team and we both was in the same meeting rooms and in the same, the same position room. So, but he just listened and, just a good dude, a hard worker. I think he deserved everything he got from the coach. He really established himself on special teams as a really good return guy. He put the ball in his guy's hand. He can go. He knew what to do with the football in his hands. Everyone liked him. Just a likable guy. And came to practice with that smile on his face every day. He worked hard. I remember one time, I think when I got cut with the Redskins probably year 3 when I was there, and Aaron was still with the Colts, and I remember this like it was yesterday, and like this one I really was like, man, this dude's just a good dude, and I was in a position where I really wasn't established that much, and he pretty much said, hey man, you need to get away. Come here in Indianapolis, and he just bought him a new house in Indy. So I stayed there with him for about 2 or 3 weeks and just kind of hung out with him, waiting on a phone call for myself to try to get back in the NFL. But during that time, he just really took it upon himself to, kind of make sure I was good, just being a friend. Then, once I kind of got to that point where I was kind of done with football around the early 2000s, I think shortly after that, he was done playing NFL football, but he still had enough juice in him he wanted to continue his football career. So he started playing arena football. And I kind of introduced him to that because that's what I was doing. So he came into arena football and just dominated from day one, only in AB style. So all the gift that he had as far as being a really speed guy, good hands, quick, all of that kind of fit well with the Arena League style. So he was an instant star from day one. I was not surprised. I think a few times that the Arena League football team that I played for played against his team. So I would come into his town when he was playing that. He'd come to my town when I was playing that. And we would go out for dinner and kind of hang out a little bit. But, we just always just hung tight to be at this point, and then to be able to be a part of this, by him being inducted to the Hall of Fame, that is huge, because that stands for excellence forever. You always be remembered for that forever. I can't think of a person that's more deserved than my good friend Aaron Bailey. So congratulations, AB, for being inducted into the College of DuPage Hall of Fame. Well deserved, and I cannot wait to honor you in person and be able to celebrate with you and your family on this great occasion.
An All-American and NJCAA Hall of Fame running back for Coach Bob MacDougall, Bailey started for 2 seasons with the Chaps before completing his college career on scholarship at the University of Louisville in 1992 and 1993. The Ann Arbor, Michigan native started both seasons at wide receiver for the Cardinals and Hall of Fame coach Howard Schnellenberger, where he remains among the top 5 all-time return specialists. He was signed as an undrafted free agent by the Indianapolis Colts in 1994, where he starred for 5 seasons at wide receiver and kick returner. Bailey is considered the finest kick return specialist for the franchise since the Colts moved to Indianapolis in 1984. Please welcome Aaron Bailey.
Wow, this is a full circle moment for me. Thank Jesus, and I thank God for this full circle moment. Thank my mom. Coming out here from Ann Arbor, Michigan, this was, I never would imagine something like this. I just want to thank my mom. I want to thank my father for supporting me from Rocket football to the NFL. My mom and dad, I also ran track. I ran AAU track from the time I was 7. My mom and dad took me around the nation. We traveled around the nation running track and things of that nature. My mom supported me. My dad supported me academically. I struggled as a kid, K through 12, but my mom and dad was always in my corner and supported me, and she's always been my rock. She's always been the biggest fan, so I thank you, Mama. Appreciate you. And bless my dad's heart. My dad is here with us spiritually, and and I wish he was here to see this moment as well. I also want to thank my wife, Jennifer, and for supporting me and being my rock and my foundation. She does everything for the kids. I mean, she does everything for us as far as the scheduling, sporting events, academic events, concert, things of that nature. If it wasn't for her and her guidance, she's always pushing me to strive for greatness, and I'm doing the same thing with her. I appreciate you, babe, and I really do. Jennifer also, is a point in time, she was like, hey, babe, why don't you just go on and get your, go on and get your degree. I said, I don't know if I feel like doing all that. I got to go back to school. I got to do all this. I got to do all that. She, you know what, I went and did it, got my undergrad degree. I said, you know what, I might as well go on and get my master's. And I went on and did that as well. And if it wasn't for you, I probably wouldn't have got it. So I really appreciate you, Jen. I appreciate everything you do for myself and for my kids, and I love you. I thank Coach Matt Foster, and I thank the Hall of Fame committee for nominating me and bringing me here, back to this moment right here. Wendy, Jessica, Kent, Dr. Miller, and Jane, you guys all rock. It's a hell of an honor to be inducted with you guys, and I really, seeing everybody's things, I'm just like, wow, I'm blown away by everyone. So this is an awesome honor to come in with you guys. It really is. One thing I want, it's an individual family that I would love to thank. They're the Murphys. The first year, everybody know we don't have any on-campus living. So my first year, I had a few roommates, and so at the end of the year, some of the guys, they either were transferring out, or they just couldn't, their families couldn't pay the bill, or things of that nature. There's all kind of crazy things going. So I was kind of stuck in a rock and a hard place. I had a good, successful first year, and I came to Coach MacDougall, and I was like, hey, Coach, all the guys are moving out. I don't have a place to stay. And the Murphys stepped in. Ty Collins and Mr. and Mrs. Murphy, they opened their doors to me and opened the doors to the Bailey family and allowed us to stay with them in Naperville for my second year. And if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't even be here. So I'm truly thankful to them, to the Murphys and Ty Collins for opening his doors to me and my family. So, and allowed me to be able to sit here and come back, allowed me to be able to actually graduate from COD, which was a hell of an honor for me. That was just a big notch and feather in my hat to be able to graduate from the COD as well. I want to thank Coach Mack. I want to thank, I know he's here spiritually with us, and Coach Roman. Coach Mack, we always talk. 90% of our conversations wasn't never about football. It was always about family. It's always about being a good man. It's always about doing the right thing. It's always being a leader. And for 30 plus years, Coach Mack, he always sent me Christmas cards. He always followed up with me. He always came to practice. He even came down to Louisville and came to a practice, just came in, walked up on me and see how I was doing. I was surprised and shocked. We kept in contact through my NFL years. We kept in contact through my arena years. And after that, he always followed up with myself and my kids to see how my wife was doing, to see how my mom was doing. Coach Mack was always there. Even when my father passed away, Coach Mack was one of the first people to call. And so he is like a coach, but he's almost like an uncle to me as well. I'm going to truly miss him, and I wish he was here with us right now. And I just love that man to death. Coach Roman, he was a little different. Coach Roman, he had tough love. Coach Roman definitely let me know how he felt every day. I started out as a defensive back, and I begged them every day, hey, you should let me play running back. You should let me play running back. I kept begging them. So in my second year, like we're halfway through the season, they said, all right, we're going to let you play running back. But for the first year and a half, I just pretty much got chewed out by Coach Roman every day for blinking my eye. He was a good man, but one thing that Coach Roman did, he always showed tough love. And I never forget, he got so emotional with me as I was leaving, and he wrote me a nice little note, and I still have it to this day, how much he cared about me, how much he was pushing me to be great. And he showed me a lot of tough love, and I really appreciate Coach Roman for that. I also want to thank my teammates. All of them are still lifelong friends. I still talk to those guys, and we still call each other on Christmas and holidays and things of that nature. I want to thank them. I want to thank Coach Matt Foster again. I also want to thank Coach Mich. I also want to thank him as well. And if there's anyone that I left out, charge that to my head and not my heart. I really appreciate everything. I appreciate the committee again for nominating me, and it's been truly an honor, and thank you. Yeah.